board went flying across the room. And next thing I know, my dad was on top of me, and he was saying, "Way to go, I can't believe you beat your dad." I could tell he was being a sore loser at the same time. And then the competition moved to basketball over the years, and man, he could play dirty. He always pushed me to surpass him. And it was amazing how that was done. And here's Jesus moving in the power of the Holy Spirit. And he's doing great things in those Spirit. Can I run a quick list? I mean, watering the wine, raising of Lazarus' son, raising of Jairus' daughter, the healing, the forgiving, walking on water, multiplication of loaves and fishes. And he tells us, guess what? When you move in the Spirit, you're going to do even greater things. He wants us to surpass ourselves. He wants us to surpass even Jesus in what he did. And that too speaks of the affirmation to move in his presence, to move in his riches, to move in his goodness. Hey, this is a great one right here. Read it with me. Because I live, you will live also. Let those words affirm you. Don't drop those. Don't fumble those. Take them with you. Because that's God saying so much. I love you so much. I want to take you to live with me forever. We're not going to need to see one another by appointment. We get to live and thrive and exist and celebrate forever. And folks, grab hold of this one too, please. And hold this one in your heart. Read with me. Well done, good and faithful servant. Come into your master's rest. Well done, good, faithful servant. Can we speak about some words of affirmation? The job's done. It's completed. It's the end of the day. Project's right there for your inspection. Wow. The end of life, transition to life eternal. Stand before the Father and to hear those words, well done, good and faithful servant. I want us to live, move, and to celebrate in such a way as to please the Father, not because we fear his wrath, because we love him. Let that be the motivation of being in fellowship with him. And then to hear those words as a result of that love-inspired way of living. Well done, good servant. Well done, faithful servant. Come and enter your master's rest. You know something? We've been talking quite a bit about the affirming presence of the Father. And again, we tend to get that from our own earthly fathers. And earthly fathers can do a bad job of that. Sometimes we as offspring have to look really, really hard to find that word of affirmation. I was visiting with a guy not too long ago who was telling me about how his father was just so stone cold, and everything he did, he tried to get Dad's attention and tried to get an attaboy from Dad, and just Dad was never When he was there, he was just attached. Told me he went to see him deep into his adult years. And even when his father met his grandkids, he was still that cold, detached person. Drove across the state to visit with him for a weekend, and as the family was packed up and leaving, that father came out and said, "Hey, son, remember to wear your seatbelt. Wouldn't want you to get hurt." And he thought, you know what? That's it. That's it. That was my dad's affirmation. Wear your seatbelt. We've got a Father that really knows how to affirm us. Guys, if we're made in that image, it's not too late for us to make that affirmation. I got to sit down with a man one time who was one of our veterans from World War II. Wrote letters back to mom and dad from different camps throughout Europe and deep into Germany. His father never wrote back. His mother did. Dad never did. There toward the end of the war, he received a note scribbled on the bottom of one of his mother's letters that said, "Dear son, look out for those Germans." It said they're real, something you can't say in church. And years later, I said, "You see those words? That's your affirmation right there. Be careful." I mean, couldn't Dad have done better than that? Couldn't Dad have done better than that? You hear those words of affirmation. And we need them because when we're affirmed, we get inspiration. We get a value. Those affirming words of the Father make such a vital difference in how we go on to live and how we go on to serve. And here we are talking about going on and living and serving. And we've got the purple team here from the Wind-Shaped Camp. Young people who have given their summer to the service of the Father. Some of y'all have probably given several summers, haven't you? How many of y'all have given more than a summer here with Wind-Shaped? Look at it. About a quarter of them. That's wonderful. Well, that means that they're giving, the others are giving this summer and probably several summers to come to the service of the Father. Now they're coming to give a week of that summer to the children of Stuart. Many from our own church, many from other churches, and even more from no churches at all. I think they need the affirmation of the Father, don't you think? So I tell you what I want to do. I want to invite y'all. Y'all look so comfortably seated over that way. But I'd like to come line up this way. And I'd like you to, just line up all the way across the front. And we're going to begin this way. We're going to have you introduce yourself, what your name is, where your hometown is, where you go to school, what you're studying. And as soon as you've introduced yourselves, I'm going to ask you to turn around and kneel down at this altar. And then, congregation, I'm going to ask you to come on down as they're kneeling. And I'm going to ask you to lay hands on them. And we're going to pray the affirmation of the Father on them. Okay?